Joined this evening by Congressman Bob Latta, again joining us. We appreciate very much your time. Let's get to national security. We had the incident in Detroit on Christmas Day. From everything you're hearing in Washington and talking in briefings, do you feel like the administration has a handle on this and that it was a one single breakdown, or are we looking at larger problems?
Well, you know, it's a tough question, but, you know, right now everything you've been hearing is everybody said they'd done everything right. Well, if everybody did everything right, why did this thing occur? So I think that right now that, you know, there's going to have to be some changes. And I think the change has got to be is that, you know, sometimes people say, well, we got to be really politically correct on how we do these things. Well, this is security. This is making sure people don't get killed on aircraft. And I think that, you know, they've really got to look at saying, okay, we got to screen people a lot better than what they've been screening right now. And I know that they've already said on certain countries are going to really start beefing things up, but they got to put these people on these watch lists. You know, how could it be that a guy turned his son in, pretty much?
Yeah, the father reported him, yep.
And it still got through.
And he didn't end up on a no-fly list, but he was in a database.
And, you know, again, we're going to have to make sure that these things are all working together because, again, we can't have these things occurring because once one tries it, it's just going to, you know, encourage other ones to get out there to do it again because I think that people out there for a while thought, well, maybe things have gotten beefed up enough that they couldn't break through. Well, it's just like what happened in Newark the other day. They shut the entire airport down because one guy walked down an exit ramp and they found out he left the airport then.
He's gone.
Yeah.
So you're somebody who I've always talked to you about the purse strings and making sure the way money is spent properly. Are we spending enough when it comes to security? Are we spending it wrong?
Well, and that's a question, and I think that's what they really. I think that we've got to have hearings, and I don't think they can just poo-pile this thing and say, well, you know what, we're going to do something better. But I think that the question is, are all of these security agencies out there, are they being to the point that some of their people now are afraid to do certain things because they're afraid that if they do it, they're going to say, well, I've overstepped my boundary and I might be caught on the carpet. And, you know, there's some folks out there in our national security areas that are, you know, they're nervous about what's happened in the, you know, with the new administration, and if they go over a certain line, they would be called that they shouldn't be doing things like that. And unfortunately, folks have got to remember one thing. When we're talking about national security, these people are terrorists. We had, you know, the head of our Homeland Security, you know, was pretty much talking about not calling them terrorists anymore, but these people are trying to kill us. And I think that's the number one thing that's got to be, she's got to be reminded of, is that these are not our friends. These are people that you're not going to convert by being nice to them. These are folks out there that want to do bodily harm to as many Americans as they possibly can.
Okay, so as a congressman from Middle America, what do you do to make sure that that message gets across that the people here in Northwest Ohio aren't going to stand for people on terrorism lists getting on the planes?
Well, and I think that, you know, Congress goes back into session next week, and I think that's one of the top things on the list, even though, you know, we've been talking about health care and the budget and all these other issues. But national security has to rank right at the top of things because if Americans aren't safe, we're in trouble. And I think that, you know, Republicans have been out there calling that we've got to have hearings and find out how these things broke down and are we actually, you know, we have, you know, from Homeland Security, for example, you know, she had said, you know, well, the people we really want to watch, you know, are veterans coming back from Iraq or, you know, people that might be pro-life or you might have people that are Second Amendment. Right. And it's just like we're not talking about the it's no longer terrorists, but man-made disasters is how she was trying to describe these things. They're not man-made disasters. You know, these are true people that have still got the idea that the best thing for them to do is to kill as many Americans as they possibly can.
All right, I appreciate your time and your insights on that, Congressman. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you.
And that is tonight's Talk Back.